Morning, everybody. We'll convene as Board of Supervisors. I need approval of the tentative agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? All ayes. Would you read the minutes of the previous meeting, please?
December 8th, 2025, Chairman Rasmussen called the regular meeting of the Wright County Board of Supervisors to order at 9 a.m. Members present were Cluse, Bosch, Rasmussen, Lukes, and Ellis. Motion by Lukes, second by Ellis to approve the tentative agenda. Motion carries. Minutes of the previous regular meeting of December 1st, 2025 were read and approved. Approved claims for payment with denying claim number 44026 for reimbursement to Daryl Stephen Carlisle. Ellis believes this should be paid out of the marketing fund rather than the general basic fund. Motion by Ellis, second by Bosch to deny claim number 44026 until further clarification from the Economic Development Board as to where the reimbursement should be paid from. Motion carries. In open forum, Wendy Palomino was congratulated for 20 years of service to Wright County as a dispatcher. Amy Goldman and Leanne Waltzing representing the Belmont Aquatic Center Committee and Cody Nicholas discussed with the board the CAT Community Attraction and Tourism grant the city of Belmont is applying for. Goldman explained that they have raised $2 million so far, and with the bond that was passed on the ballot this last election, they were able to secure $3 million in additional through a bond. The committee and the city of Belmont are applying for the CAT grant, but need to have the support of the supervisors. They are requesting $10,000 for a match to be able to secure the grant. Motion by Rasmussen, second by Bosch to approve resolution 2025-35, agreeing to provide local contribution for the 2026 Community Attraction and Tourism Grant. By roll call vote, ayes. Cluse, Bosch, Rasmussen, Lukes, and Ellis. Nays, none. Resolution 2025-35 duly passes and reads as follows. Julie Edwards, Admiral Director, presented the annual report for services in Wright County. With the contribution from the county of $16,000 last year, Upper Des Moines Opportunity Inc. was able to provide $266,128 of direct services to the citizens in Wright County. UDMO is requesting continued partnership and financial support in the amount of $16,000. This will be discussed during budget discussions. Discussion was held on the Christmas Eve holiday. Motion by Rasmussen to have Christmas Eve off as a gift to the employees. Motion dies for lack of second. Ellis and Lukes would like to see the courthouse be open on Christmas Eve as a normal workday. Motion by Ellis and seconded by Lukes to receive the monthly revenue report from the Wright County Sheriff. Motion carries. Motion by Cluse, seconded by Rasmussen to support additional funding for the Heart of Iowa Regional Trust Fund from the Board of Supervisors in the amount of $3,270. Motion carries with Ellis voting nay. Adam Clemens, Wright County Engineer, gave an update on the Secondary Roads Department. Clemens is working on an agreement with the cities for maintenance inside the city limit with approval from the city on secondary road extensions. This would include snow removal and normal blading with any additional maintenance to be reimbursed for. Motion by Lukes, second by Rasmussen to adjourn the meeting. Motion carries.
Any additions or corrections? Not, they stand approved as read. Claims have been around. Open forum for the public. I have, but is she coming?
She's supposed to be. She's getting her stuff ready for the clinic. I told her to be here at 9, so it's already.
Okay, well, we'll hold off on that. So when she comes, we'll take care of it. Leanne Groom, president of the Wright County Charitable Foundation, to provide an update on the foundation. Linnea, sorry.
That's all right, Rick. You don't even know me if you. Well, first of all, I want to thank the supervisors for letting me get onto the agenda, and secondly, I'm not here to ask for money.
Yay.
So.
That's the Grinch thing.
I want to thank you guys for supporting the charitable foundation in Wright County, and also for supporting the Wright County Economic Development Group for supporting us, because they do provide us with a lot of, help throughout the year to make our lives much more easy. We're, really looking forward to this coming year. We're very excited because for the first time in probably 5 or 6 years now, we have a full advisory board. We have 2 members from each of the 3 larger communities in the county, on the board, are supported by 2 people from each community, and then 1 from each of the smaller communities. And so we're fully staffed, and that's the first time for a long time. And I'm really excited about it because we're staffed with people who are truly interested in Wright County and seeing things happen, and I know have been active and stuff in the county to make these things come to fruition. Within that advisory board, we have a very strong executive council too, that is, they're all very positive, all very hardworking and interested in what they're doing, so that makes it that much more easy to get things accomplished. We've established that we will be meeting every other month, so there is, going to be a structured meeting process. And then we're also changing the way the granting committee is going to function. We're selecting 5 people throughout the county, for fresh eyes. They are not advisory board members. They will go through the grant applications that we get and come make their proposals to the advisory board to be accepted for the grants each year. And that committee will change from year to year. It's not gonna be the same people over and over and over again. There's some advantages to that because when you have fresh eyes and fresh ideas, you get new projects taking place that some people are not that informed about. And also we are, keeping the youth committee, so there'll be the 2, students, 1 senior and 1 junior from each of the high schools in the county that are on a board, and they are allotted $14,000 of the granting that we get the pass-through account. And they vote on which grants they approve, and those are taken into consideration then once the adults select theirs. And then we take that into consideration before we give, those grants out.
The committee that, is doing the surveying of the grants, is that from different communities or?
Yes,
Okay.
it's countywide.
Perfect.
Yes. Basically, we've tried to stick with, again,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the 3 major communities and then outside of the county,
Right.
so, yeah. Adam Vorey, who's the new superintendent of the high school here in Clarion, is gonna lead up the youth group granting committee, and I will be, leading the adult committee. We are financially self-sufficient at this point in time. I hope we can keep it that way. We're working very hard to make that happen. Right now, in our operating fund, we have $62,635.86. And that was as of September 30th. We don't have a new update until the end of the year, but, so with that being said, we have what we need to be able to, I think, exist and operate the way it should be. The pass-through account, which is what we grant out and are required to grant out, this year for, the awards will be $112,614.34. So that's what we'll have to grant out to projects this year. It may be a little more than that by that time because of interest, but that's where we're at. And then we also still have the disaster recovery fund that's, a little over $22,000. We established that fund when I was on the board before, and it actually came to fruition with some of the flooding and extensive rains that we've had in the last few years. And then we left it in place during COVID for various reasons. We've not actually used any. I think we did use some money out of it during this last flood season to help some of the cities with disaster recovery.
On that disaster recovery, do you have like an application that you would use?
Mhm.
No, the only one I was gonna think of is not really disaster, but the county fair like last year got flooded out, and I don't know what portion of the, insurance didn't cover, where they took loss on entertainment, on the entertainment stuff, so.
Yeah, I think,
But I don't know if it's that is something that.
I don't know, whether that would be, initially what we did is, we helped with, in several of the communities where people were having flooding in their basement
Mhm.
and they
Yeah.
needed dumpsters and stuff like that.
Oh,
Necessarily,
perfect, yeah,
and
Mhm.
so then we helped those cities pay for those things to get rid of.
Very nice.
Basement stuff. So, and also we have a total of $3,766,368 under the Wright County Charitable Foundation umbrella currently that we hold as funds that will be used within Wright County at some point. And those are all separate funds. They set up their separate endowments. There's multiple ways that you can do an endowment for the county. And then those people decide how that money is to be used and stuff. But the whole goal of the charitable foundation is to keep these funds and those monies in Wright County to be used here and not travel throughout the country. So that's good, but that's one of our major projects this year. We lost one major fund, which was kind of a blow to us, but we're pulling up our bootstraps and we're gonna work from there. We're hoping to build that fund up again and would be willing, very willing, if anyone ever asks you, is there an organization that can help me set up endowment funds within Wright County and things, be sure and recommend us, because that is what our goal is. Giving it back is the reward we get from it, but the goal is to establish these funds and keep monies in risk. So over the 20 years, and last year, several of you attended our celebration last year when we awarded the grants that for 20 years that we've been in existence. And we have given out 809 communities and projects money for a total of $39,327 plus in projects in Wright County. And of that money, about 2 million of it was supported by the charitable foundation grants. So there has been some significant help. In 2025, we awarded $120,800 plus to projects in Wright County. And supported a project cost of $1,859,000. So we're currently working on, to do that, we're currently working on a new 2026 community report, which it's going to share from 3 of the fund holders, and then we reached out to 3 people who have received grants in the past and gotten their stories and things. And as soon as the president gets her article in, I'm under a little duress here. This flyer will become available for us to use to build funds and things. So we're excited about that. I think that's gonna be great. Plus, the other thing we're excited about is that we have, and the applications will be coming out in all the newspapers in the county within the next couple of weeks. I think this week and next week, for a new director. Because as many of you know, we took quite a hit in June when both Denny Bowman and Dwayne Asby retired. And both of them had been active and participated in the charitable foundation since its inception and things. And so Joe Stephen was kind enough to step in as the interim endowment director. He's been very beneficial in having him. In fact, he and I just met with one of the endowment fund holders a couple of weeks ago and went through that and stuff. So he's been very active, but we need to build these funds. And that hasn't been our primary goal in the past. We've kind of just functioned as the grant committee. And that's not what the advisory board was established to do. They were established to build funds. So that's going to be our focus in the future. And this is gonna be one of the things that we use to promote that. And that position is being opened up the next couple of weeks, and we already have had some interest in it. So we are excited about it. And hopefully we can find somebody that will go out and work. And it's about a 20-hour a week job. And it can vary from time to time depending on what's going on, but it's a very important role. So, are there any other questions from any of you? That's where we stand at this time.
And our granting cycle is,
It opens on January 1st, closes on February 15th.
Good.
And we're hopefully going to award those grants in a very timely fashion this year. Because it's, having been a grant recipient as well as on the other side of it. It's in order to make these projects flow. You know, by that time, you've had the estimates from your contractors, whatever. They've waited a long time to know whether or not it's a go. You've waited a long time to find out whether it's a go. So the quicker we can get these funds out, the better.
and, the only other question for the public, which I'm sure will be in the paper, does it require matching?
Yes,
Definitely.
yes. And they got kind of lax on that for several years, and we're buckling down on that again, because if you don't have matching funds for your project, it's not showing that you have a vested interest in your project.
Okay.
And I'm going,
8% is the.
yeah, 20%.
Very good.
Are there any other questions?
Do you know when your grantee ceremony will be, or is that to be
It
determined?
kind of is up to when we get all of the applications reviewed and when we can get it to Des Moines, because ultimately Des Moines is the one that sends us the checks and things,
Okay,
but hopefully in March sometime.
okay, perfect,
That's our goal.
right,
And the award ceremony will be in Rowan this year
okay,
at the Iowa River Player Theater.
oh, nice.
I appreciate everything that, Dwayne Asby and Dennis Bowman did. I know they were big instigators of this whole thing and they really worked their tail off for it. And I just want to send my appreciation to them for what they've done to help get this off and going.
Yep, I think it's, when you take a look, there's 30 some, I believe. Charitable foundations throughout the state that do this. We all do it differently. Nobody does it the same way. For a long time, we were the only one that did 2 granting sessions. And the granting is a lot of work. By the time that you go through all of those grant applications, 40 or 50 grant applications, and fine tune them and then, you know, rework them and stuff like that, it's a lot of work. So doing it once a year is enough. Twice a year was kind of overkill. So we did go back. We were the only one that was doing it twice. So we did narrow it back to once a year. And that allows us to give more money at once too.
Yeah.
Right,
We don't have to divide those funds in half.
Well, thank you for the report.
Hope we have a copy of the report to give you next year.
yeah,
We'll take a minute here. I've got a certificate of achievement. Naomi Rothman. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So for 5 years of working with the county, she's done an awesome job.
Thank you.
And she's always good to work with. Congratulations.
Actually, was here before.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam.
Drive safe. Will do.
You can leave that open now. They were vacuuming and was noisy.
Okay, review and act on Christmas Eve holiday.
So this is back on the agenda because following the, board meeting, we had a department head meeting and got input from the department heads on their thoughts on having Christmas Eve day off. And so it was put back on the agenda, for that reason.
Any,
So-
any thoughts?
And so I would make a motion that we approve, Christmas Eve of being a day off for the Wright County employees.
I would second that. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Did you?
Aye.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
I'm just, so we, close the courthouse down for a day, what does that cost the county? We're still paying the employees, is that what you're saying?
I don't know, I could get with our person who does the payroll and probably figure that out.
Yeah, I'd have to calculate it,
So,
It's probably no different than if the employees were working.
correct?
The only difference would be Jason's guys. Secondary roads guys, if they have to go in. and
Communications.
Communications,
yeah,
that's the only difference.
they're still all working.
Right, well, secondary roads isn't unless they get called in or there's snow. And I talked with our county attorney and he doesn't think that I need to abstain from this because
Okay.
it's
Very good,
everybody as a whole, so
very good.
I vote aye. Aye.
Any nays? Passes with the 4 ayes. Okay, number 7, appoint Ashley, how do you say that? Cole,
Okay.
Colgate? As a civil processor.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ashley Kokite as a civil process server.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. Jeremy Abbas, Assistant to the Wright County Engineer, Secondary Roads Update.
Good morning.
Morning.
You don't have something all written out for us?
Huh?
Just kidding.
No. Nope. Usually start out with blades and trucks, we'll hold them to the end, that is more referred to with the winter weather call outs. Work orders completed 9 last week. With their winter weather, last Sunday we were called out, all personnel, 6 AM response to snow and blowing snow. Monday, once again, trucks were out at 5 AM for 10 hours on hard surface routes. And then Monday would have been graders' second day operations, cleaning stuff up from Sunday. Tuesday again, 5 AM response for all trucks. That was due to isolated snowpack and overnight winds. Thursday, 3 PM, as you know, that storm came in, or the blowing snow came in at the end of the day, so we went out 3 PM to the afternoon commute. Get people home. Friday, 5 AM again for all trucks on hard surface, and then this past Saturday, 9 AM, all trucks were hard surface, so that snow ride in mid-morning. And I think they ran 9-10 hours. And then again, yesterday, which will be on next week's report, all graders went out yesterday for. So weather response was pretty heavy last week for us.
How's equipment holding up?
Good, yeah, I think. What I saw on Saturday, those pavements straightened out pretty quick and the motor graders went out and. There was a lot of areas that where you could just see gravel's normal route, but then there was that 1 or 2 in the areas, so. They think they were out of here yesterday by 2:30 or so. Miscellaneous updates, bridge and Belmont, the right there, the Taylor Avenue Bridge. Last week, we were able to get the north, piling put in to build the bridge deck supports. This week, the goal is gonna be, starting today, find some dirt, get those slopes built, get revetment hauled in, and then they can start their decking, so. We'll see how it goes, weather pending, and then seismic testing still is across the county, so.
But you won't allow them to start building or forming the deck without having the dirt work done.
Yeah, you can't,
underneath
we gotta
it.
do the dirt work under the width of the bridge,
Yeah.
otherwise we'll never get there, and if we don't have dirt work and revetment, we're gonna. our pier piling will be susceptible to scouring, and that's the number one fear in building a bridge, so. That has to get done, so there is dirt on site now, whether this warm weather coming up allows them to excavate and spread satisfactory, or they're gonna have to ship some dirt in. So that's our goal, and that's where we're gonna be today, so,
Does the cold weather affect the concrete?
yeah, oh yeah.
Big time.
Oh, yeah, we got specs that we have to follow, they're very tight on concrete, we'll essentially build a tent over this bridge
Hmm.
to pour the deck.
Gotcha.
And it has to have certain temperatures, the water has to be a certain temperature. And then it isn't just the day of the pour, it's the 96 hours after, we have to gauge it and we have to read temperatures every day, and if it falls below a certain temp, now you're susceptible to cracking.
Do you have like a thermometer that
Oh,
like
yeah.
records the temperatures and stuff?
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
so when we do the deck, it'll be a wireless puck that gets stuck, tied to the steel inside the concrete. And then I'll read right to the phone.
Mm.
So now we'll be able to get temperature updates as we want.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like this, I wanna see you sit there for 96 hours, watching the temperature.
So we just show up, so you go in and it'll batch report for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go in the next morning, it downloads, reads the last 24 hours. So you can see every hour, top of the hour, what the temperature was. And if it dips below a certain one, now you're in contact with the DOT and see what we gotta do from a distance in. Yeah, well, unfortunately, we can build the deck this week.
Is it 45 degrees?
40.
40 degrees.
If it's below 40, you have to have the approval of Adam. Adam actually makes the call when it gets below 40 degrees. He has to make the decision whether we can pour or not. By the DOT specs.
Mm-hmm.
If it's above 40 and rising, we can pour, but then you still have to monitor those 96 hours, and those have the same rules tied to it, so. It's a gamble in the winter, and that's why no one does a lot of it in the winter.
Right, right.
So we'll get there, it's just. Maybe not as soon as we want, but.
Just hot water in the, when they mix the concrete,
So, yeah,
boiling water.
so in the concrete, in the concrete is hot water,
Mm-hmm.
and the truck coming out to the site has hot water in it. And then as we pour that bridge and it's tented off, so picture the plastic going over top of the bridge and all the way down to the water,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be heaters underneath the bridge as well,
Wow.
heating. And then they'll have to heat hot water and pipe it up to the bridge. And then we have to use hot water because once you're done with the bridge, you put a burlap on and then you wet it down. That has to be hot water, so. It'll be a monitoring dream, so.
That's a nightmare.
So we'll see. We'll see what we do. I think the forecast looks decent for days that you possibly could do something, but we gotta get those things done this week for us to start building the deck. Then you tie the steel and then.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yep.
9:30, Sandy McGrath. It is 9:30, close enough. Sandy McGrath, Wright County Public Health Director, to present the Gerald Circle Award for giving with the use of opioid dollars for the Family Resilience Program.
Thanks, Susan, Board of Health member also, and Ashley, their board representative. I'll get you, the Family Resiliency Program is through Allen's Child Protection. And Allen's Child Protection is in our region that we also, need to. That we also use for any type of abuse situation. They do like their forensic interviews and stuff. Jason is very fully aware of them. The Board of Health and our opioid reduction committee is very focused on prevention with the use of the opioid dollars. They want to really focus on that prevention instead of, throwing money on the top. So in the process, we've had reports from Allen's Child Protection. They have a family resiliency program that actually, I think there's only maybe 4 in the US, trained personnel that can assess newborns, children for potential concerns if the child has been exposed to drugs either prenatally or after birth around the household. The purpose of that is to help that child get the interventions they need. There's usually interventions don't occur until they start hitting like the preschool or kindergarten, and then everybody's thinking, oh man, and then there's misdiagnosis. So what they do is they do that in that assessment. They may recommend, maybe they need therapy, speech therapy, maybe they need behavioral therapy. Maybe they need programs like HOPES or Early Head Start. So those dollars, the opioids funds, are specific to opioid related concerns. This fits exactly right in there. So I use some of the money towards that. What I also ask them, and I'm in the process of doing, is doing some training to Iowa Specialty, to their providers, the OB, to make sure that there's awareness, this is programs there and things for them to look at. They're more than willing to do that, and we all know that Iowa Specialty OB, they're way over 600 already this year. So they're serving a huge area. So with that, they gave us, I was not expecting it, but they gave a Gerald Circle Award.
Is it Gerald? Gerard.
Gerard, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Gerard Circle Award.
Okay.
For getting that money.
How much did you give?
Gave 10,000 out of the opioid.
Okay, thank you.
That program, the Family Resiliency Program in the past had been funded by grants, and over the last year or two, that's so dwindled down.
Mhm.
But we felt like that was important enough that the program needed to continue, because it is truly prevention. Even if it's prenatally, the prevention even includes, teaching mom at that point and finding interventions there, so.
Yeah.
Might be something next year, we do the same thing. So I would like to ask Katie here, that you guys would, and Susan, stand for a picture on the use of our opioid.
And just an FYI, there are so many children in school that are misdiagnosed, right? Because there was an addiction and it wasn't caught at birth. They're treating it with ADHD or different things like that. So hopefully this program helps address that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand by the grant.
You want to stand in the middle? Okay, I'll stand.
I don't care. There
You
you
can
go.
stay on.
There. I wanna stand behind, actually. To be truthful.
I'm gonna do a couple, so just keep smiling. One more, 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
So, yeah.
Congratulations.
That's heavy class.
Yeah, it is. It's
And that's all
important.
through a grant that's saying
Well,
wrote
that's
to get money too, so it's not a.
Pretty neat.
Right.
So kind of, but
Yeah.
And we'll keep doing that, cause
Yeah.
like I say, we're really
Yeah.
focused on the prevention portion of it.
Sandy, but the question for you is, do you use the crisis intervention center?
Advertise for the posted forum, we navigate to them.
That's just enough. You're asking questions.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye, Susan.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Any old business?
I have 2 items for old business. As you heard in the minutes, the amount that we had approved was up to $3,270 for the Heart of Iowa, reimbursing the portion that we weren't able to raise. We've received 2 donations since then. And so the actual amount that we will be funding is $2,270.
Okay.
So, and then the other old business item was claim number 44026, from the minutes. We asked that be, that not be voted on, that we would go back to the Economic Development Commission and ask them what direction they recommended for us to take. They voted on it at that meeting and voted that it should stay coming out of the general basic funds, as it has in the past. And so I would ask that claim 44026 be put on next week's, whatever that's called, bills, claims.
Claims to pay.
Yeah.
And then there
We
was,
did receive Amanda reached out to the auditor's office.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you, yeah, I'm gonna too. I did.
And I'll read to you what Elizabeth Thayer wrote back to anybody who's been to the meetings before. She's the person who comes and presents for Gardner and Company. They are the public accountants that do our audits. Says the current guidance we have from the state auditor's office requires that there be a public purpose for every expenditure of county dollars, meaning that each expenditure must have a clear benefit to the public, and this public purpose should be clearly documented. For this claim to meet those requirements, the Economic Development Board would have to determine and document what benefit the public received by paying for these meals with general basic funds. I was under the impression that the county established a marketing fund separate for these types of expenditures as to not pay these with tax dollars. This might be a more appropriate place to make these expenditures. Again, recommendations, I have shared this with economic development, and so we will be documenting again the public purpose as outlined in the email.
Thank you, Dean.
Is that okay with this claim, or from here on, it needs to be documented what the public purpose is? I'm not sure what the auditing firm.
for this claim. And something should be documented with it. It's still my opinion that it should be paid out of the marketing fund. I did attend the meeting and tried to explain the auditing firms, and then Amanda did get a hold of the auditing firm. And so it's,
We will get written up for it.
If it's approved.
Yes.
so,
And that's fine, as long as you have documentation showing, as Elizabeth explained.
Any new business? Update on meetings.
Our Midas board meeting was canceled last week and it's been moved to Tuesday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. And then the only other informational thing was, I've got marked down in my book, 6:30 on Thursday is the Wright County Republicans meeting. Is that changed?
that's what I showed also.
Just for information?
Even if you want to touch on your attendance to the Trails Committee also.
Oh, yes, I did attend, although I don't serve on the Trails Committee, I did attend the Trails Committee meeting on Thursday, at 1:30. They're trying to get a hold of Joe Allen's Reynolds, excuse me, to get her, to find out if she's willing to serve on the committee, which would be brought to us to, if we would appoint her to that Trails Committee. They talked about grant opportunities. There were some questions that Jeremiah also attended. He will be the new representative for Wright County Conservation. And he had some homework to do on ownership of a couple of parcels. And one of the major discussion items was moving the meetings to a different time, but that time continues to work. So they will keep the meetings at 1:30 because members are able to attend by Zoom, so. I think I got everything there.
And the appointment to the Trails Committee is on next Monday's agenda.
It is, okay, very good.
Anything else before the board?
I did get a letter from Crisis Intervention Services and, Sandy just said that, and they're requesting $1,000. And this organization, has been serving North Iowans since 1977. Our mission is to support individuals affected by domestic violence, sexual assault, trafficking, stalking, homicide, and other violent crimes by providing professional, confidential, and 24-hour services, including safety support and advocacy. Additionally, we work to prevent violence in our communities through education, awareness, and community partnerships. In here, they specify that in Wright County, they have a total of services valued at $67,777. Housing and financial assistance to Wright County residents of $5,901.30 was provided to 11 families. Prevention and education programs was CIS facilitated 4 programs reaching 900 individuals at a service value of $1,825.56. And so what I would ask is that I'd like to get a hold of Mary Ingham with the executive director, have her explain a little bit more about the programs that they serve, to create awareness through our board meeting. And then also they're asking for $1,000. And Sandy just said that that is a use that we can use opioid dollars for the 1,000.
Mary Ingham?
Ingham, INGHAM.
And they're out of where?
Um,
Mason City.
Yeah, Mason City is the, yeah. So, I think just to create awareness of programs that are out there, I will see if she wants to come.
Or via Zoom even.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, that will work too.
Either way, if she's not unable to,
Right, drive
weather
down,
dependent and stuff,
Mhm.
yeah.
so, okay.
Perfect.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. Will adjourn again as drainage trustees in 5 minutes. Okay, we're back in session. I need approval. This is as drainage trustees. I need approval of the tentative agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. Would you read the minutes of the previous meeting, please?
Last meeting was December 8th, 2025. The Wright County Board of Supervisors met in regular session as trustees of the drainage districts with the following members present: Rasmussen, Clues, Bosch, and Ellis, which we absent. Also present were Amanda Meyer, auditor, and Courtney Morris, drainage administrator. Chairman Rasmussen called the meeting to order at 9:51 a.m. Motion by Clues and seconded by Bosch to approve the tentative agenda. Motion carried. Minutes of the previous meeting on December 1st, 2025 were read and approved. Motion by Bosch and seconded by Clues to approve drainage plans for payment. Motion carried. There were no work orders needing approval. Morse presented the following 5 drainage invoices. First one for Jacobson Westergarden Associates for JDD 162-7 for engineering services, totaling $1,140.55. Second one is Agravia PLLC for DD 169 engineering services, totaling $400. One is for Wright County Auditor for Pitney Bowes for JDD 111-3 informational meeting letter postage, totaling $10.36. The fourth one's for Mazdam Construction for DD 36 lateral B for Lake Township, section 21, totaling $1,562.50. And the last one for Mazdam Construction for DD 14, Lincoln Township, section 5, for $512.50. Motion by Clues and seconded by Ellis to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried.
Any additions or corrections? If not, they stand approved as read. Drainage claims.
We have 4 claims. The fifth one of those that I just read from the minutes, we're having the contractor double check the GPS location on that, just because it's pinning to a different township and different sections. So before I actually pay that one, I'm having him double check that. So the other 4 total $2,063.41.
Motion to approve drainage claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. Open forum for public input regarding drainage districts. Review and act on any drainage work orders.
We have no work orders for today.
Review and sign any open drainage invoices.
We have 1 drainage invoice. This is for Mazdam Construction. This was reported by Dave Odlin in section 11 of Liberty Township. This is a DD 107 and 219 open ditch. It's a shared ditch there. They're both Wright County drainage districts. They actually went out and took care of the beaver dam before the work order got sent out for the tails to be trapped and brought in. So when they build this, they actually build the removal of the dams along with some other work that they did directly to Dave Odlin. Dave Odlin brought in the invoice so that we could take care of the beaver dam portion. So of this total of this invoice, only $350 of it will be paid by the district for the beaver dam removal.
And he's aware of that.
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, we'll be in a recess until 10 o'clock. And we'll do the JDD 1113 informational landowner meeting. We'll be back in session.
Observation this morning. I'm from Blarsburg. Yeah, here. And just at the Hamilton County line. It changed all of a sudden. It was all clear in Wright County and it's, you know, to the south of it.
That was about the dividing line of where the heavy snow was.
This morning too.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We'll be on the JDD 111-3 informational landowner meeting.
So the reason that we called this meeting was, because we have a previous engineer's report that is older than
10 years. I think it's 11 years old, isn't it?
11 years old. And I think that according to Iowa code,
It's 10.
is it 10?
Mhm.
10 years, then you have to get a new engineer's report. But, we wanted the landowners to be aware that, one, we had received a price for televising this, section of the lateral that has been petitioned to bring into or under the control of the, drainage district. This previous engineer's report showed the area, the drainage area that would encompass, because we're required to, if we do a project and we have an engineer, we are required to, if it has not been reclassified and the laterals broken out on separate classifications, we are required to do that. So looking at this previous engineer's report, that area that you are talking about and wanting to include in the drainage district. Then an extension of the lateral, I guess I should say, and bring that under control of the joint drainage district. That watershed from this old engineering report showed approximately 14 landowners. And those were the 14 people that we asked to attend this meeting. Because they would be the people that would bear the cost of having this televised and having having an engineer involved and having a new classification done for that area. So will you go over some of the numbers, Courtney, that you've got?
The estimate for the televising that we received came in at $33,760. And that is for televising sections, the tile in sections 1, 2, 11, and 12 of Iowa Township. This totals 6,360 feet of tile to be televised. They have to go in, they can only do an 800-foot section at a time. So they go down at one location, they can span 400 feet one direction and 400 feet the other direction before they have to come up and go to another location. This would also include an SD card of the full audio and video. Take about 10 days to complete. They're expecting the tile to be clean because it is fairly new. And the estimate does not include jetting, just because they're presuming that that pipe is going to be clean for as fairly new as it is. This estimate did come from Henniger Construction, which is why Dan is here this morning as well.
So the other thing that did bring up Courtney, we talked the other day is, you know, if we go in there and we open up the spot and we go 800 foot and it looks clean, my recommendation was, well, let's skip a section or two and not do the whole thing. Because at that point, I feel like if it's clean here, we go open up another section, it's clean there. I think we're wasting money, you know. That's an option, but I don't know what you guys are engineers feel about that, if you want the whole thing done, you know, if you're gonna go forward with it or not.
The other option is to not televise the tile at all. The landowners in this section, what we presume off of the engineer's report from just over 10 years ago for that watershed boundary line for lateral 5, if that still remains roughly the same per an engineer's report in the classification, then those landowners within that watershed boundary area would then take on the responsibility of that tile. And if, say, we don't televise it and in 2 years, there's a repair that needs to be done, they understand that, you know, that repair is on them regardless, but they took that risk of not having that tile televised beforehand.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the petitioners are the ones who would pay for the televising, correct?
Yeah.
So, again, we want to make sure that the petitioners are aware of the potential costs, and with an estimate of what that cost is, and with the knowledge that even if you televise it, doesn't guarantee that you won't have a repair. Therefore, possibly you could save that money of televising by the petitioners and just move forward with bringing that to the membership as making it part of the infrastructure. The extension of lateral 5 is what I'm speaking of here.
And then the only cost would then be the cost for the engineer
Right,
to do the report and then the classification,
classification.
which is the checks, the bond that was already given at the time the petition was filed would be what that would go towards.
I'm assuming that the idea behind televising it was to help the other landowners around that would be part of this understand that the tile is good.
That's exactly right.
Again, if we accomplish what the petition is requesting, which is making this infrastructure part of the drainage district, those people that we've notified of this meeting would be paying for any repairs on it regardless, so,
That's not gonna, that wouldn't, excuse me, I got some asthma or something. But it's either now or later, and, some of us are not getting any younger. And we wanna, it's our long-term goal, to be, passing on, to next generation. But something for which there's a process, for getting it. Now, my land is 3/4 of a mile of that, of the major tile. I think that brother Don's is, significant there too. I look at it as pay me now or pay me later. And I'm very strongly supportive of, proceeding as we had thought about getting it into the drainage district. And that would necessarily require, some evaluation that by engineers. And I mean, it's either the drainage district bill people out later, or hard feelings among different landowners. It's been 118 years that this particular area, that people could never get together. Yeah.
Good.
The whole thing, and now we have everybody, nobody has, to my knowledge, had a reservation about proceeding on this. And if there's some possibility of changing this, it would follow, conventional practices of saying you don't have to do the whole thing if you're watching water flow in a couple different areas. I mean, as long as you're doing things like that. I don't know, Don has his own perspective on that stuff, but I'm very strongly, and I, the two of us, probably three of us, that would have the predominance of that, because I got 3/4 of a mile just myself.
understood. And the petitioners would be the ones who pay for that evaluation. I just wanna make sure that everybody understands that, and I agree that would be a great boost if I was a landowner, at the far end of that, to know that the tile that you are proposing having me become responsible for is in good working condition. I
And
applaud that.
that's where Don comes
Yeah.
in, he's upstream.
Yeah, if I jump in for a second, so Bob's land is on the east side of what the former, Youngblood Avenue in
Sure.
section 1. I own the quarter section, section 11. To put in perspective, my, tile that Craig Hill and I put in, we put in 18 from section 12, his land in 12 to 11. And down and connected on the, actually, on the east side of Youngblood Avenue.
Sure.
And we put in an 18 because that was what was available. That 18 goes into a 14 that is in the bottom of the east ditch of Youngblood Avenue. Or, I'm gonna say 1,800 feet, I'm not sure the distance. There are 3 intakes in that ditch, above that tile. A year ago in September, I submitted a work order, that's when the county still owned the road. Yes, sir. And they, 2 of the intakes were washed out. There were stalks blocking the tile going underneath the road at the north end. And the tile the county did a great job of repairing it, by the way, but that is repaired. Now, if we do not proceed with creating a sub-district, what will happen the next time we have a washout? Frankly, I wouldn't have to do anything. My land, my 18-inch tile that I have coming out of my section 11 is 4 feet above where it connects at 14. But to be honest with you, if water comes down there, it's just gonna blow out and so what? So if there's a washout, who's gonna pay for it? everybody's affected by it. But if we don't have a sub-district, then frankly, Bob's the one that's probably gonna get stuck paying for them, all the repairs.
If I wanna repair it.
Right.
But I think I've got a lot of documentation I put with it, but, in 2016, Harold Boozman led the charge, and Harold and Dennis Bethweber and Craig Hill and I paid for Maasdam, connected to the end of lateral 5, which is 100 feet north of the ditch. To replace the bad tile from that point and went over into across underneath the road and connected to 14. And actually put in, I think it was a 24, if I'm not mistaken, so that's good. Craig and I put in the 18 in, let's say 2006. I know that is good. The only question is the 14 that's in the east ditch. That basically, and what we did, when we connected the 18 is basically I say there are intakes in the east ditch. The reality is it's really a relief.
Outlets,
I mean,
yeah.
when they get a rain, the water just blows up out there and goes down the ditch. Well, many years ago, probably 25 years ago, we finally dug out that ditch, so it's as a surface drain is what it is. It's the bottom line is, as Bob said, I'm 80, Bob's a lot older than that. We're not gonna be around. But the bottom line is, I don't wanna leave. I don't really gonna own my land after I'm gone. And if there's a repair and somebody could own that I don't have any idea who they are. If there's a repair needed, they're just saying, screw you. I mean, just whatever, my land drains, I don't have to worry about it. And same with Craig Hill and I are both high enough, it's not gonna frankly affect us. But we feel we have a responsibility to help pay for the maintenance of that section of time. Now, the question of whether it has to be scoped or not, or have a camera, frankly, if you're gonna do it at all, I'm not sure it's necessary to do, frankly, but I would not do that. But if you did, it would just be the 14, the 18 and the 24, I know are in good shape, but.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I would spend the money to do that. We know what it is.
Well, you're talking about the water backing up, depending on, if it's heavy rain, that can, but you might have something plugged in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's whatever.
So you got 1,500 foot of 14 that you could do too, if that's what you guys recommend, and start there.
Yeah, that is the only section, and if there's gonna be a problem, that's where it's gonna be, that 14.
Yeah.
But with there being intakes, I mean, that is forever gonna be a relief. If we get a big drain,
Yeah.
it's gonna find the path of least resistance, and that's up into the ditch. But I think you also stated that the ditch was cleaned out enough and its surface flows either to those intakes or
Yes.
we're not flooding out the rest of the field.
I'm guessing, I'm not sure exactly, probably in the late 90s, the county dug out that ditch. And in places, it's 8 feet deep. So it's basically a surface, tile, the ditch is the outlet, basically, it'll roll down to the surface outlet. The west ditch is almost silted in, there's almost no ditch at all there in some places, so. But two issues, the surface drainage in the east ditch and the potential damage and washout on the 14-inch on the east ditch.
Should also, we're engaging in a tiling project on my side with there. And for me, and also then Roy Arms, who's right next door there. And we'd like to have, a little more certainty about what's gonna happen to that. And I really strongly believe that, it's something we should proceed. It's been 120 years and there's court cases about who's responsible for that. The part that the Boozmans owned was that they did not want to become part of the district. The Boozmans are strongly supportive of it now. This is Boozman and I put down, about $10,000 each.
Yeah.
you know, to, you know, to get it going if necessary.
Good.
And we've had meetings with every one of these people. And I'm surprised no one else had showed up this morning.
Well, you have two. You have, Don Dolman is on and
Oh,
Gloria, Harl or Harold. Did either of you have any comments that you wanted to make? And if you haven't used Zoom before, you have to unmute yourself, usually in the lower left. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm gathering information because I didn't even know who was bringing the petition. No one has contacted me before I got this letter, so this is all new information for me.
Okay. And Gloria, will you pronounce your last name for me, please?
Harold,
Harold, thank you. So. And Don, did you have any comment? I don't think I can unmute him, can I?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Is that where I would do it at?
Just click on his name above there.
This is asked to unmute.
Oops.
All right, somebody help. Okay.
What was your question, Betty?
So, am I understanding correctly, when you guys, and, because I'm not, this is kind of new to me. You put in an 18-inch tile on the east side of the road. And then that connects into a 14-inch tile that goes to the drainage ditch?
No, the 14-inch goes down and dumps into a 24-inch, which dumps into the.
But it is a 14-inch on the east side of it.
Correct, but it goes 18, 14, 24 ditch.
And I believe also
great, thank you.
each of these other parties, they're on the north side of the drainage. The north side of the creek, the drain section side.
And so that's where you're thinking if there's,
That's the part
14
that they
inch,
don't know about, is that 14 inch.
that 1,500 feet of 14 inch
Correct,
tile.
correct.
Gotcha.
Is that 14-inch sized enough for this?
No, if you had an engineer look at that, he'd say,
That
you
don't
should
work.
dump an 18-inch and this many acres into a 14-inch. But the 14-inch does have, I think you said 3 intakes, which allows it to relieve rather than hopefully blow out.
If they're maintained.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And them are the ones you think you should probably check the 14 inch.
I would start with the 14 and then have, you know, get back with landowners. And once you get into the 14, you could go, 400 foot that way without tearing a tile and 400 foot the other direction. So you're actually, you're pushing 2,000 feet and 1,800, you're gonna get out of television.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So during this, if the televisation is done and he finds needed repairs, who does that fall under? Do those repairs get done before it goes into
Currently,
the
those
drainage district?
repairs would be done individually by a landowner because it's considered private tile right
Right.
now. Currently, the district only pays for the portion of lateral 5 that is, how many feet?
100 foot.
Yeah, 100 feet. That's
So
the
if-
idea, is to get this infrastructure so that it is part of the drainage district. And again, the watershed boundary encompasses, I mean, it's a huge watershed,
Right,
but this particular infrastructure only involves roughly 14 landowners.
right, so if there's things that
Asking if
needed to
there's-
be done, would those repairs be done before it comes into the drainage district?
I know that if I was a member and was voting on whether or not to bring it in, I would request that those repairs be done ahead of time.
Before it,
Yeah,
that was
because-
my question.
because once it comes in, now those 14 landowners are responsible for
Right.
paying for the repairs that would need to be done.
So
Gotcha.
what is the cost difference between replacing that 1,500 feet of 14-inch tile as opposed to
Upside,
camera.
right? I don't know.
That'd be a lot.
A
I
lot
can-
more
I can
for
come back with-
replacing.
With another estimate for just that 14 inch, and then, you know, you guys pass on to landowners, but it would be significant, yeah.
Significantly more for replacing it than
Oh, yeah.
televising it.
And remember, the tile system currently works, and
Right.
most tile systems work with reasonable rainfall. It's when you get that large event that now all of a sudden you may have a period of time where that ditch is full because it's boiling out of the intakes. But when it's turned to go away, it goes away down the ditch.
Yeah. I mean, like that part, we can almost have it, I would guess, the 14 is not an issue at all, it's right next to the road. You're maybe in a 2-day job, you know,
Okay.
day and a half, 2 days, so it's drops it down big time.
The 14 currently is working.
Yeah.
I would not replace it now.
Hmm.
As long, I mean, I think, the only repair that I've been farming over there for 40 years. The only repair that I am aware of is repairing the intakes that, a year ago.
Yep.
I mean, it's serviceable, it's undersized, we all know that.
Yes.
But I can't, I mean, the alternative is that water's coming to the surface and going down the ditch.
Yes.
I mean, that's how it's.
It's not flooding out crops.
Right.
So it is what it is.
And if it was taken on, it would just be the understanding that if it's in good condition right now, that potentially down the road in the future, that would
Right.
probably have to be
Right.
increased in size.
I'm
If it becomes an issue.
maybe not quite as optimistic that this at all, but I mean, either way, I still wanna know.
Yes, sir.
No, it's still, I'm like,
Who owns the 14 inch tile?
Now the landowners own up to what used to be the center of the roadway. Youngblood has been vacated, and now those landowners.
Is it these
So-
gentlemen here?
Right now, Bob owns that.
I've got most of it.
You've got all the 14.
Of the 14, but there's part of that is. There's a intake for what, a 16 or 8 inch from Boozman's side of it. It goes, you know, starts there and then it comes across into the 14 inch, which is on my property.
So by increasing it from an 18 dumping into a 14, isn't he responsible for the damages on the 14? Because he increased the water flow according to drainage law?
Right.
Back to your previous question, I am the owner of the other half of the road of the Youngblood,
Okay,
on the east side, on the north end.
east side, on the north end, okay, yeah.
Because he has to take his water, but he's increased his flow into that 14 by putting an 18 inch in there. And according to drainage law, he has to take the water, but he has to pay for any damages.
Right now, it is, again, it is a private
Yeah.
tile right now. Yeah, when it becomes part of if that infrastructure becomes part of the district, then no, the people within the boundary of that particular watershed would pay for any repairs based on the classification and what their usage is, yeah,
What the engineer would
Yeah.
do.
which would be determined by the engineer, that's correct.
Unfortunately, this situation is because of 100 years ago, the same landowner owned property in section 11, section 12, and section 1. The investor, if it will invest or not now, his father actually owned all three of this. I'm guessing, surmising that he didn't get along with the neighbor to the west. And that's why that tile comes up and runs in that ditch all the way to
On
the
that
south.
side.
I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get along. I'd like to think we can get along now.
Mhm.
we'd like to leave this property and the tile in a better shape to our children and grandchildren and the next
Right,
generation.
If you want verification for that. I was able to get all the history of the district and the lawsuits, you know, between those. It's our neighbors, they couldn't get along. We'd like, they can get along.
After you sent the letters out, Courtney, did you get any phone calls or responses back
Nothing.
from neighbors? Okay.
Nope.
And you said 14 letters?
14 letters went out.
Okay.
Correct.
We have 4 people here.
Mhm.
So I would propose that we move forward with the petitioner's request to televise the 14-inch, with his,
The petition wasn't to televise, it
Oh.
was just to take it on as a district asset.
Okay.
Televising was an option that we threw out there to see what the condition of the tile was before it became an asset. You can completely go without doing it if you so choose. You can do a portion of it. You can do all of it, whatever.
my understanding is the petitioners are requesting that we televise that 14-inch. No,
Your
you are not.
petitioner
We were,
Okay.
we're not requesting it
Okay.
televised at all. We were
Okay.
just, all we're petitioning for is to put that tile into a
Into-
sub-district.
Gotcha. Okay.
You as trustees asked to see what a cost would be to televise it.
Okay. All right.
So you are not interested in televising
No.
any portion of it?
And
I would not do that.
yeah, and
I may have a better opinion about doing it, because it's my land, and
Yeah.
just would kind of like to know what's going on there, but. I'm either way, I mean, it's basically. As we mentioned earlier, if as and when there's a problem with that, at least there's a process for handling it among the parties.
So, okay,
Dan, roughly how far down do you think that would bring that estimate if it was only that 1,500?
Oh, so, yeah.
Like just the 14-inch tile?
What I can do is go back after my meeting and calculate it out,
Which was this?
get it back to me.
Did we have that?
So, you know, give you guys a cost on the 14,
It was 30.
sounds like it's your guys' decision.
My question is, what's gonna happen to the?
Yeah.
Who's been safe?
hopefully we're making the decision with the backing of the landowners on how they wanna proceed. But it has been petitioned for this to become essentially for lateral 5 to be extended up there and include the tile that is currently existing right now. Past the 100 feet, whatever it is,
So
currently,
these are the 2 landowners that would be paying for the televising?
no,
No,
no.
no, it's Latham and Boozman are the ones that put down the $10,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if Dan gives that estimate to you,
Do you have it, Courtney? I just had it, but it was.
Yeah. If he gives that estimate to you, would you be able to contact those landowners and see if they? So who's paying for the televising? Those 2?
If we don't televise and we would still require an engineer's report to
Right.
bring this in.
Would the
And then we,
engineer require a televising? Or not necessarily?
not necessarily,
Okay.
no,
If we don't, maybe if we don't require. Why are we doing it, basically?
Mm-hmm,
agree,
right.
yeah, it seems like, the system is currently working. I don't see any reason to televise it.
Okay.
And I just think about, it's my pocketbook, and it's also the Boozman's.
Yep.
That come directly to us first, and then I've got to figure out how to
Right.
get reimbursed.
It'd be roughly around 5,300.
So $5,300 for
1,500 feet.
1,500 feet of 14 inch.
Yeah, again, I don't see unless we have landowners that are specifically saying, I want
Right,
this done, which I'm not hearing.
right.
We only have 4 people that, are attending. Then I would say that we move forward with, the requirements for assigning an engineer, determining the watershed boundaries and, and fulfilling the petition's requests to include this as part of the district assets.
And you'll make that into a motion to put it on the agenda for next week?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You'd also have to do reclassification.
Yes, sir,
in that
absolutely.
subdivision.
That's correct.
So anything above and beyond the $20,000? Who pays for that, for like the engineers and stuff?
That's just-
Petitioners.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Which the engineer that did the report just over 10 years ago was McClure. So if you use the same engineer, the Agravia, they would have pretty much majority of the information, and that would probably keep the cost down as well,
Right.
potentially.
Right.
And then there's gonna be formal hearings and stuff like that with all the landowners.
Correct, and there'll
And
be
so-
legal costs through our
So there,
drainage attorney.
correct, and so then, I think that will give landowners another opportunity to speak up,
Absolutely.
about what's happening as they start thinking about it, processing it. And if there's any dismay, they'll let us know. So,
So did you second? that?
seconded, yeah.
You did, thank you.
Any more discussion?
Do we need it?
just to put it on the agenda for next
next
week,
week.
Okay.
to take action next week.
Yeah, appointing an engineer,
Mhm.
and also talking with our drainage attorney, making sure that, that we're crossing the Ts and dotting the Is.
We'll put it on the agenda. You don't need a motion right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
we'll have to
all right.
for that.
Who is that, if I can ask?
He is out of Ames, help me with his
Eric
name,
Edie.
Eric Edie, yeah.
KEADY.
No,
Eric
E,
Edie, E-I-D-E.
yeah, Eric Edie. Okay,
And I'm sure if you wanted his information, you could get it from Courtney.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Dan, thank you for attending.
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
That helps to have clarification. I would move for adjournment as drainage trustees.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Uh,
All ayes? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.